Welcome back to Bravo Breaking News with Kim and Lisa. Unfortunately for us, on this week's episode of The Valley, Jax made his return to the show. The three little words made it all better. You've been served.
Yes, Jax finally got served divorce papers. And honestly, rightfully so, because when he got out of rehab, he chose to do literally everything except see his son. And he's trying to shift the blame and the spotlight onto Danny Darko now. I'm not having it, Kim.
You know I'm not having it. That scene pissed me off so much. I can't believe that we're supposed to think that this man-child actually changed in these 30 days. I'm not buying it. I don't think anybody else is buying it. There are boycotts for Watch What Happens Live. Fans are calling for him to be fired from the show. I want to get your thoughts on everything. But before we dive in, you guys know what to do. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more Bravo Breaking News.
Okay, so we pick up with Jesse picking Jax up from rehab. And I mean, I don't think anyone missed him. I really don't think anyone missed him. He's so proud of himself. He has this 30-day token. I don't understand. Is this 30-day token a sobriety token? Or is it
I guess
just
so.
okay? Because they kind of don't talk up, like they kind of glaze over. Was this a rehab for addicts or was this a mental health facility? They keep intertwining the two. And I don't really understand what he did in this program, but he's very proud of himself. And he says, I just want to move on. I want to see my son, and I don't want to go back to my old ways. I really did so much work, and I let things out that I thought I was going to take to the grave. I had to figure out where this anger was coming from. And Jesse's like, well, everyone's pissed at you, so don't expect like a free pass from everyone because that's not how it's going to go down.
No, he thinks he's coming out and he's this changed man and life is going to be so different. No, dude, you haven't changed at all. He's like, I can finally, take accountability. No, we know you're not going to take accountability for anything. You just continue to lie, lie, lie. They show up at the house. He sees everything in trash bags. I gotta say, I thought that he was going to flip his shit when he saw the trash bags, but for some reason, he does hold his anger in.
He's
It
healed.
seems
He was on his healing journey and he's healed.
he seems to be healed for 0.2 seconds when he does see that, but then he continues to just make snide remarks. He's like, look, the house is in foreclosure. We got to sell the house. A woman can't handle a house this big, a 5-bedroom house. A woman can only handle a 3-bedroom house. Like, excuse me, Jax? Like, even Jesse, you see the face he makes and he's like, dude, like, when Jesse's making faces like that, you know that what he said is bad. He continues to share that he stopped paying for the house mortgage when he found out about Julian. It's like, Jax, you're making these decisions based off of the stupidest reasons, but these are decisions that will haunt you and Brittany and your son for the rest of your lives.
Yeah, and I think that's what was so crazy is you're not punishing Brittany by not paying the mortgage. You are also punishing yourself by not paying the mortgage. Not a smart thing to do, bud. And yeah, when Jesse is calling out your misogyny, like, it's bad.
Oh my God.
So yeah, and Jesse's telling him about, I told Zach he could host a party at my house tomorrow night for Benji. And Jack says, well, I'm coming. And Jesse's kind of saying, well, it's not really my party. It's Zach's party. And Jax is like, don't care. I hear the word party. I've been in rehab for 30 days. I got to let off some steam. I'm coming. Like, okay.
Yeah, of course. I mean, once a narcissist, always a narcissist. I don't really think there is a cure for narcissism. You could be in rehab for 3 years, Jax Taylor, and you would still remain a narcissist. So he's going to come back swinging and not miss a chance to be in front of the cameras because remember, Lisa, this is his show.
Of course. Just like Vanderpump Rules was his show.
Yeah, and then he got fired. I I don't know if you guys saw my Instagram post, but of course, when he said that, right, we all remember the time where he told the one and only Lisa Vanderpump that this was his show. This is the reason why my show is so successful. So I found that clip and I looked back to when that actually was, and that was the season 8 finale. Lo and behold, Jax Taylor was fired right after season. So let's hope history repeats itself. And because the last time he said that, he got fired.
And seeing the photo that you posted of him yelling at Lisa, it was so aggressive. Like it was years ago, so I think we kind of forget, but he is very clearly in her face. She is backing up, like kind of taken aback physically because this man is in her face pointing at her saying, "This is my show." I mean, obviously drugs were involved, but like not acceptable. And just reminds me, why did they bring him back in the first place? Like, why did they think, all right, let's let him take a couple years off to, grow up and then create a new show and have him be a main character? Sounds like a great idea.
And especially for a narcissist, like to literally create a show. I think, like, I hate to admit it, but I do think he did have, not a say, but like a position in getting this show created, right?
Yeah, it was
I don't think
centered
that
around him and Brittany, for sure.
yeah, I don't think that he's a producer on it. I don't really think he has any say, but I do think they did kind of center the show around him, and that just feeds his ego more and more, like Alex Baskin. Wrong move. Wrong move.
Ugh. All right. So first night out, he wants a boys' night. They're going to dinner at some like random steakhouse with crazy like rental chairs. I don't know. That steakhouse was very confusing to me. And he says, guys, I'm not drinking. Like, I'm not going to drink tonight, but I'm not drinking because that's not my problem. Drugs were not my problem. Alcohol's not my problem. Anger is my drug. And everyone's kind of like scratching their heads. How do we approach this? Okay, so let's say alcohol's not your problem and drugs aren't your problem. The drugs and alcohol definitely fuel the problem of anger. So shouldn't you maybe refrain from partaking in those? But Jax is going to Jax. He can justify anything in his own mind. And so he's really saying, Brittany hijacking my bar, you guys were there to support that. And that was really a slap in the face to me. And it's just, I don't know. These guys are all like, wow, he really learned nothing, didn't he? Like literally not one thing. And he says, starts talking about, you guys were having such a great time out here without me. You went to Santa Barbara, you're going on all these trips. And, I'm stuck in rehab. Like no one visited me. Oh, so like, let's talk about Santa Barbara. How was that? And of course, the Janet Danny pantry conversation comes up, and Jax starts turning the narrative to focus on Danny's drinking and starts saying, like, I think you have an issue.
The audacity of that entire table to talk about Danny's drinking problem when Jax literally left rehab the day before for a drinking problem. He refuses to admit that he has a drinking problem. Is wild. One of the most wild. And Danny sitting there like, what? Like, I don't have a drinking problem. Jason will not let this go. He says that Danny was blacked out at Jax's the night before. I don't think he was blacked out.
No, he didn't seem blackout.
No. And Danny's like, look, I rarely drink. And I'm pretty sure that's the truth because he has 3 kids at home, 1 on the way. He's a dad of 4 under 4. Of course, when he goes out, maybe he goes a little bit, too far. Again, I'm not excusing what he did to Jasmine. I'm separating that from this larger conversation. But I mean, Jason continues to go in on him and just because you don't drink every day doesn't mean you're not an alcoholic, fueling this alcoholic narrative for Danny. Like, stop trying to make dark side Danny happen. We have not seen any indication of this as viewers. And certainly he wasn't showing that the night before at Brits, because all I saw was him calling Janet out for what she said about him, and rightfully so.
Yeah. So here's where we differ a little bit, because I do think that he has not a drinking problem per se, but I think he has a problem with indulging too much when he chooses to drink. Like, he just doesn't know his limit, I think. And he's probably exhausted, which can factor into it. Maybe he used to be able to have 4 drinks and be fine. But these days, like, as you get older and you sleep deprived, 4 drinks hits differently. So I think he just needs to kind of find like where his limit is. But yeah, he's not this like dangerous person going around and getting drunk and like wreaking havoc in the world.
Yeah, but you know who is? The person sitting next to him. Like,
Yeah.
it's insane.
No, it's absolutely insane. And like, I don't know. Like you said, the audacity of Jax is just, I don't know. Like, where does he get off?
I will not stand for this. I will not stand for this. This is like so insane to me, and it really, really pisses me off. We'll get into it more when Nia confronts Janet at the party, but gosh.
Jax was basically smiling when they were all like coming after Danny. He's like sitting back, like, that's right.
Like, what does Janet, what do Jason and Jesse like, or what does Jax have on Jason and Jesse? It's like this blind loyalty where they cannot like be, even as friends, you're supposed to be honest and truthful to this person, but they are not being honest and truthful to Jax. They are fueling him up, kind of, supporting him no matter what. It's this blind loyalty that you will never catch me doing.
No, that's such a common theme throughout all of these shows, especially Housewives, especially like New Jersey. Like Teresa, the blind loyalty that she expects from friends is next level. And sorry, that's not me either. If my friend is doing something fucked up, I'm going to have a conversation with them about it.
Yeah. Shout out to Marisol on Miami. You'll see in this week's episode that she's not afraid to tell Alexia like it is when it comes to Todd. So just an example of that.
I love those two so much. And you guys, if you aren't watching Miami, you need to figure out your priorities in life, because it is so good. It is such an underrated Bravo Housewives show. Like, you got to get into it. Kim and I were just talking about how when the Valley's over, we might jump over and start recapping Miami, because it's phenomenal.
Love it. Love it so much. Those ladies bring it every single week.
All right. So let's hop on over to this surprise party for Benji. That, I mean, they meant well, but they decided to put a sign in the front saying, "Welcome back, Benji." And then everyone hid in the back as if it was a surprise. And so Zach's just like, you guys, you had one job.
Thanks, Jasmine. Thanks.
But Brittany says that she hasn't talked to Jack since he's gotten out. And there's a little bit, it's a little bit muddled, because Jack says she's had me blocked, and Brittany says I unblocked him and he hasn't tried to reach out. So I guess he just assumed that she still had him blocked, but still, you would think he would try or like get to her in some other way. They have all these friends in common. Don't you think he would be like, "Hey, Brittany has me blocked. Can you ask her to call me? Because I would love to see Cruz. I haven't seen him." No. But what did he do instead? He went to get a haircut. He went to get Botox. He had dinner with his boys. I cannot. And then on the after show, he says, I wanted to look good for Cruz before I saw Cruz. Your child does not care, okay?
He did not say that.
No, he did. He literally.
I didn't watch the after show. Are you joking?
He was like, I want to look Cruz. I want to look good for Cruz, like feel good before I see him. Like, honestly, your child does not care. if you have a haircut or Botox, give me a fucking break.
All I gotta say is Brittany better get full custody of that child, because whatever judge decides to give that man even a bit of custody, maybe visitation rights that are, overseen by somebody, that's it. That's it. I'm the judge. Justice has been served. Jax Taylor, no custody.
Yeah, I'm curious where they actually landed with that custody
I
agreement
think it's
because
still going. I think
but
it's
when he first got served, we all saw the screenshots of him saying like I sign over full legal custody. Did he renege on that or like what
hmm.
happened?
I don't know. All I know is that their divorce is not finalized yet. I don't think anything has been set in stone.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I think it's still ongoing.
All right. So let's get to the Nia and Janet of it all. Nia decides to confront Janet about everything that she's fueling around Danny, right? Because Janet is really like has a boner for Danny right now. And she just wants to cross him off her list of like and take down another one. Don't know why, but Nia's like, look, I just want to like understand where you're coming from because you're making it seem like my husband has done horrible things, that his actions were horrible. And Janet says they were horrible. And if he's going to black out and act a fool, then like I'm going to say something. And okay, so here's where Nia loses me a little bit. Is she's of course defending her man, but she says he was not blacked out. Like he had two seltzers. I mean, we all saw.
We all saw he had more than two seltzers. I think we saw him with at least a beer in his hand and then a shot at one point, which the one that he tried to hide from her.
Right.
But regardless, everybody else was drinking in that bar.
Yes.
And I think we see timestamps. I saw somebody call it out on Twitter that over a 90-minute period, Danny had 3 drinks. Okay, maybe that's too much for me personally, but that's not like crazy, okay?
No, that's not crazy.
I'm gonna continue to defend Danny. And so does Nia in this moment. She is not taking one bit of Janet's criticism. She's like, you are literally intentionally trying to paint Danny in a bad light. Why? Like, what is your motive? And Janet's like, I'm bringing the truth out. He's assaulting women. Janet, this battle has already been closed and solved. The person involved, Jasmine and her girlfriend and Danny and Nia, have all sat down and moved forward. Danny has apologized. Danny understands he was in the wrong. Why are you the one that is still focused on this incident that had nothing to do with you?
I don't know because she, as Danny says, is the snake.
Truly, there is not a better word for that one. Maybe Karen, but snake is absolutely what Janet is. And
there is something very dark about her. And
yep.
I'm trying to put my finger on it, but like I don't quite know what it is because on the surface she seems kind, sweet, whatever, normal. But there is something very dark about Janet lurking beneath the surface.
I agree. There's something that's really off about her, and it's rubbing off on Jason too. I don't know if it's just because their lives are so boring, they have to create drama around somebody else and try to bring somebody else down in the process to try to create a storyline. Like, that's my pet peeve about people on these shows. The people whose lives aren't interesting enough to have a personal storyline, so they have to make it about somebody else.
Yeah.
And that's Janet and Jason to a T.
No, I think you're right. All right, so we get some more entrances. We see Schwartzy arrive right after we see Jax arrive. I mean, if you're Brittany, like so awkward, just extremely awkward. Your estranged husband entering a party that's not very big. This is not like they were at a crowded bar and there was hundreds of people. Like there was probably, 30 people there. no one can open this door. I mean, no one can get into this party, first of all. It was Summer House Door 2.0. Like, the door has four knobs on it. I don't understand what's going on there, but it threw off every single person that went through it. Um, you know who else we got an appearance from was the mesh rhinestone mask from Salt Lake City, Meredith Marks, season 2.
Did anybody clock that? Because like
Yep.
we see Jax, coming in, explaining how drinking isn't my problem, anger is my drug. And then we see this guy just glittering in the background wearing a full on and it wasn't just a face covering, it was a full on head covering. And honestly, chic.
No, I can't. It was so funny. And why is Jack so red? Why is he still so red? I thought that was from the cocaine, but maybe it's something else. Like, him and Louis have the same, I don't know, self tanner.
I
It's
mean,
not giving tan, it's giving just bright red.
that's not the only thing that him and Louis have in common. I mean, toxic red flag men. Like, you need to do a side by side meme of these two because there's too many similarities. But yeah, like, so Kristen and Jax have this conversation, and he has the audacity to once again call out this whole Brits bar takeover. He is appalled that they would ever do it. And then he chooses this time to be like, well, I hope she's spending a lot of time with Cruz, like implying that this one night that she went out was taking time away from Cruz. And I can tell that you're appalled by this. I am Kristen. I have a bone to pick with you because the way that you did not react in this moment, she reacted in the confessional and wanted, was like, don't you dare ever call Brittany out about not spending time with Cruz. But in the moment at the party, she's like, look, we all love you and care about you. We're glad that you're, doing better. Like, girl, read him to filth for that. Don't like let him off. That was just, I was very disappointed in Kristen for how she did not react in this moment.
No, that was so fucked up. That was so fucked up of him to say. And I think Kristen was just trying to keep the peace in that moment. But I agree. She could have done more. Jax, how fucking dare you? She's been taking care of your kid for the last 30 days by herself. And you can sit there and say, well, I hope she at least spent some time with him. What the fuck do you think she was doing?
Like in one breath, he's saying, oh, she took my kid away from me, like meaning she never brought him to visit him in rehab. And then the second breath, he's like, she's not spending any time with him. Okay, which is it, Jax? Which is it?
Who do you think is putting him to bed every night, getting him up in the morning, getting him breakfast, getting him, to wherever he needs to go? Yes, she has some help, but like most parents do. And especially if that person is being a single parent at the time, like, you were away.
This poor kid, like Cruz, he's going through so much. He was diagnosed with being on the spectrum. So Brittany's dealing with that, putting him in classes and seeing, medical professionals, appointments, etc. They are dealing with a lot right now. And I want the best for Cruzy. Like, he has been brought into this world in probably one of the most toxic situations.
Yeah.
I want the best for him. And I think the best is to keep him away from Jax Taylor. I'm sorry.
And you know who's taking him to all those appointments, scheduling all those appointments? I guarantee you it's not Jax.
Oh, 100%. He can't even schedule that appointment for himself. Like, so it's really tough to see. Honestly, like, I think that Cruz would be better off not knowing his father than having Jax Taylor as a father. I'm sorry if that's an unpopular opinion, but I said it.
Oof. Well, you know who else I feel bad for is Isabella, because Michelle is saying that her mom is really not doing well. And she claims that she asked Jesse if Isabella can spend the week with her mom. And Jesse said no, because it was something about he didn't want to rearrange his schedule. So Kristen confronts Jesse about this. Of course, he has a different story. He claims, I didn't know how bad her mom was doing. And I don't know if I buy that. I'm sorry. I just don't think that I buy that. And he says, no, it was just about, you know, we were going to have the conversation, a very tough conversation with Isabella about mortality, about life and death, about what's going to happen to grandma. And we needed to figure out how to do that before she went and spent time with her. And it's like, well, you better fucking hurry up, because it sounds like this woman doesn't have a lot of time for you to work out. Oh, when can we sit down as a blended family and talk about death? Like, Jesse, there's moments in life where you have to confront things, even when you're not ready to confront them. This is one of those times. You do a little research about how to, age appropriate, how to talk to your child about a sick grandparent or whatever. And then you take her to see that grandparent. Like, I just, his excuses were not, no, I'm sorry, they're not going to fly with me. And he's like, and then after that, of course I want her to see her. Like, I don't know. I really was bothered by this.
This is like a terrible situation. I feel like it's just, it could be like, oh, I want to take Isabella for ice cream, and Jesse would find a problem with it.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just like, this is a serious, literal life or death situation that Isabella needs to spend time with her grandmother. And I feel like Jesse is just trying to find any reason in the world to not give Michelle what she wants, even if it's in a very serious situation like this. So I just feel like that's how they are. I feel like they're never going to agree on anything. I feel like they're never going to, it's never going to be a simple like co-parenting situation between them. Again, yes, poor Isabella. Like, these kids, like, it's really, really tough to watch. But luckily we were able to come back up from that sad scene to a scene, my favorite scene of the whole episode. And that is when Zach reads Jax to filth in the kitchen. Because first of all, we have Brittany sliding right by Jax in the kitchen, like avoiding him at all costs. The most awkward thing ever. And then Zach comes in and chooses to actually have a conversation with Jax. He starts off really nice. I'm proud of you. Jax is like, thanks, like I've really changed. I think I learned a lot. I was in therapy for 7 hours a day for 30 days. And Zach, it doesn't take him 2 seconds to call him out. He's like, okay, so in between those 7 hours, did you listen to any of the doctors? Because you were rage texting, you were surveilling, you were doing all of the things that basically you're not supposed to do. You took your day off to come back to the house and uncover all of the cameras. You weren't in rehab. I bet it was a resort. Like, leave it to Zach to say literally what we were all thinking. And I loved it. He did not hold back at all.
Yeah, he says, like, oh, this random rehab that lets you out for an hour to go home. And Jack says, it's not a random rehab. It's a beautiful rehab. And Zach's like, I'm sure it's a fucking resort.
Yeah. And by the way, okay, I saw something. So I did not watch What Happens Live, but I guess Jack shared the name of the rehab/mental health facility that he's in. There are several locations for this rehab, right? One of which is a 2-minute walk from Jax's Studio City, right around the corner.
Oh.
So was Jax literally in rehab right around the corner from Jax's Studio City this whole time?
Probably. I mean, he was in head-to-toe Jax's merch when Jesse picked him up.
Oh,
interesting.
Yeah. Yes. That just a little fun fact.
Okay, so he was not at Passages in Malibu, if that still exists. I know that's like back in the day. That's where the celebrities would all go.
Oh, no. Jax can't afford that. Oh, no.
Oh, man. So then he starts getting defensive, of course, because it's Jax. And he says, well, yeah, I took the coverings off the camera. It's my house. I have a right to look at it. Like, they need to realize that this is so problematic that he is literally like spying on his wife and kid. I mean, and he doesn't see that as a problem. And Brittany is bothered by it, but I don't think she really understands like how wrong that is. Um, and he starts saying like everyone in this place needs rehab, and I'm not the only bad guy here. I just where's the growth? Where's this new Jax that's healed?
Where's the accountability?
Yeah.
This does not read accountability to me when you're saying that everybody in this room needs rehab. Oh, it took him all of what? We're 30 minutes into the episode and he's already just back to his way. There's no surprise there.
Yeah. So he says, all right, I'm going to talk to Brittany and then I'm going to go. Zach says she doesn't want to talk to you. And this is where we get the, she's my wife. It's my bar. This is my show. And Zach goes, well, it hasn't been for the last 30 days. Oh, Zach.
Boom. Mic
Loved
drop.
it. Loved it.
Loved it. I love Zach.
Give me 14 more immediately.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I need more of Zach's reads against Jax. But yeah, that was just, I loved that scene. Everybody can unclench their buttholes because Jax Taylor has left the building. I think we all unclenched a little bit watching that scene as well. But then, of course, we're back to Jax. God, it's like exhausting even talking about this because it's just Jax scene after Jax scene. Jax is moving out. He's got the guys over to help him. He's moving in next door to Schwartz. We get the flashback of Schwartz. Literally, they're outside of Jax's saying, it's only a matter of time. You're going to be living with me, divorced and miserable. Literally, he's divorced. He's miserable. And Jax's is going to close just like Schwartz and Sandy's did because there have been reports that that place is empty. Nobody is going. Nobody is there. The cast isn't going anymore because everybody hates Jax. So why would any of the fans go? That's gonna be closed by the end of the year. Count my words.
Yes, I think that's a safe bet.
Yeah. So oh, yeah. And then there's this whole drama with the computer. Brittany's logged into this computer. Jax takes it anyway. Janet gets it back. Like, it's just so...
Janet walking down the street, literally carrying a desktop Mac.
Thank God. I mean, props to Janet for getting that back, honestly. But then he's using Cruz for leverage. Oh, yeah. I'm not going to do that until she lets me see Cruz. Like, even the guys had the brains to say, no, Jax, that's not the way that this should be going.
Yeah. And he starts saying, this isn't fair. I'm missing out on milestones. Dude, that's your own fucking fault. Like, you've done this to yourself. So again, where's the accountability? So I don't know. Like, then we see Brittany coming home and a bunch of his stuff is gone and she's like getting sad going into the garage that used to be his man cave. I would have been elated because that garage was just full of stuff. And it's like, oh my God, now you actually have a garage. You can use it to park your car in. Like, what a concept. And, I feel like the house would be a lot lighter without all his stuff there. She says, I'll even let Kristen come over and Sage. Like, yeah, you should do that. Like, get her over there ASAP because that place needs to be saged.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm not in agreement with Jax, but I do think Brittany does need to move out, but I think it's going to be a while because of their whole mortgage situation. But let's talk about the Frank Drebin of it all, because once again, Brittany is like dropping some shade at Jax, and we find out that he has a burner account, which isn't surprising, but that he is actually commenting on his own posts with this burner account. You're a legend. Like, all of this stuff in praise of Jax Taylor. This is everything to me.
No, I want to know if this was talked about in therapy. I'm going to guess not, but it needed to be.
Jax would literally never admit. I don't know if he was questioned about this on Watch What Happens Live, but if you guys watched, like, he will never admit that he did this. He will deny it to the death. Like, he's too narcissistic to admit that he actually did this, but of course he did.
Yeah, and he accidentally DM'd Brittany from the Frank Drummond account, being like, "Can you call me?" So it's absolutely him.
Of course. And you know that I went to I was like, Frank Drummond, so I went and looked, and of course he's private now. So he probably got
But
the screener for the episode and was like, shit, I got exposed.
what a name to choose, Frank Drummond. Like, where it sounds made up.
It totally does. Oh gosh,
You
that
know
was a
who
lot.
else on the after show revealed that they had a burner Instagram account? You're not going to be surprised by this, but Janet.
I did
Janet
see a little clip of this. Did she reveal this? She didn't. Did she reveal the handle?
No, but she admits that she has a burner account. But she says where Jax made his mistake is that the burner account is just to look, not touch, kind of like at a strip club. You don't engage in comments, you don't make comments, you don't like, you just are there to browse. And I was like, that doesn't surprise me at all that Janet has a fake account to do that. But again, goes back to the like, there is something dark there.
Well, I'm sure all of them do. Let's be real. They want to know what everybody's saying on social media about them, but we don't want to see, Janet like looking at all of our stories. So,
Yeah.
Janet, I'm sure you're one of the followers of Bravo Breaking News. Don't pretend like you're not. I'm sure you're seeing everything that everybody is posting about you just incognito. So, I'm pretty sure that they're all doing this. But yeah, Jax, of course, did not do it correctly. So we end the episode with Jax moving into his new place. I gotta say, it's like a really nice condo.
No,
I don't know
so
how
nice.
he's affording that. But his balcony is literally touching Tom Schwartz's balcony. Like, this is trouble. And we hear a knock. Somebody's at the door. Jax Taylor or Mr. Couchy, you've been served. And he's like, oh, yeah, this is for my podcast.
Immediately lies. Immediately lies. He does not. His first instinct in every situation is to lie. And this was proof of that. He doesn't know this man. This man doesn't know him. Why did he feel the need to even say anything?
Yeah, it's like he was embarrassed.
Yeah,
he was embarrassed, so he had to like say something to like cover it up.
Right. Exactly. And of course, he reached for a lie. Like, that it comes so naturally to him that it's frightening.
Yeah,
you can't believe anything this man says. Like, literally can't believe anything. And so he brings him back, and I have to say it's clear he was expecting this because his reaction is pretty calm. So if she had blindsided him with this, like, he would have flown off the rails. But he was very calm, and Schwartz is like, "Oh, what is it? What'd you get served with? What is it, divorce papers?" And Jack says, "Yeah." And he's like, "Oh shit, I was kidding, but let me see." And so Schwartz is trying to, kind of cheer him up, and he says, "Oh, to be resolved expeditiously and outside of court. Dude, this is like a love letter for divorce. Like, this is great." And it's just, I'm glad Schwartz is there with him because he's been through something like this. But Jax, it feels like he's like disassociating almost. He's like, yeah, it says I'm giving up full legal custody. What does that mean? Like, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. And you would think that might be kind of a point of contention for him. But he just kind of says, like, yeah, I was a terrible husband. Great father. I'm a great father. No, you're not, dude. But anyway, that's besides the point. But he keeps saying, I don't know what this means. What do I just sign it and send it back?
Well, he's like so quick. He's like, all right, done. Yeah, Good.
Yeah.
Can I just sign this and send it back? Jax, you have not even read two
Right.
words on this thing. Schwartz is the one, oh, well, you might want to look at that custody thing. Like,
Right.
Tom Schwartz, who is not the sharpest tool in the shed, is actually reading beyond line 3 of your divorce papers and telling you, oh, you might want to look at that custody thing. Like, Jax, if it were up to him, it's like he would have not even read it, signed it, be done, not even knowing what he was signing.
Right.
What a dumbass. I mean, and then on top of it all, Schwartz is, once again disassociating, pulls up his phone on Instagram. Immediate headline. Immediate, like, Brittany could not have timed this better. Jax has served the papers. It hits the media, within like 10 minutes?
That was rough.
I loved it. I loved it. This man deserves to be put to shame. Like, Schwartz is like, don't look at your phone, don't look at social media. And we do end with Jax Taylor saying a good line, and I have to agree. These are no longer the best days of our lives.
No, they're not.
And
Oh, go ahead.
if you think about it, like, it's like another one bites the dust. We've seen all of these men grow up, get married, have kids, and one by one, divorced, failed business, moving back in together. Like, it's happened to all of them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's not great. It really is a full circle moment with a side of glow up, because they have more money now, so they have nicer apartments, but like they're all basically single back living in, apartments again. So yeah, but you know what I have to call out is when he said, I knew it was coming. I knew this divorce was coming. If Brittany didn't serve the papers, I would have served the papers. No, you wouldn't. You would have stayed married. Don't pretend like you were going to go seek out a divorce. Like, that's just, no.
No, because Jax doesn't want to be the bad guy. He doesn't want to put it on him. He would just continue to be in this marriage where he is toxic and violent towards his wife and putting his son in a terrible situation. So I am proud of Brittany that she did choose to
Yes.
file, of course. But I think I don't think this is going to be easy. I don't think they've reached a resolution. I'm sure, I don't know if we got an update on Watch What Happens Live, but I'm sure we will get some updates during the reunion on where they're at. I want peace for her, but I'm afraid with Jax Taylor in her life, I'm not sure she's really ever going to see that.
Yeah. I don't know.
So, question. Should Jax Taylor be fired from the Valley?
Yeah, I don't want him on my television. I don't want this man to have a platform.
Yeah, I feel like we are holding him up to this.
Right.
It's like we need to let this man crash and burn and just deal with his repercussions. But instead, there's a camera in his face and he's getting, almost praised for being this type of person and doing 30 days in rehab. Oh my gosh, congratulations, Jax Taylor. Like, no, this man is toxic, and it's just, I don't think we need to have him on TV. I think it's a danger to Brittany and Cruz. I think it's a danger to his castmates, and I think it's a danger to the network for enabling this. Like, they keep trying to do this toxic man redemption arc. We've seen it with Schwartz, we've seen it with Sandoval, now we're seeing it with Jax, and it didn't work for Sandoval, and I don't think it's going to work for Jax.
Well, and Jax has zero redeeming qualities.
No.
Like, Schwartz has redeeming qualities. Sandoval, not so much, but there's not a child involved in his situation. And so, and he, yes, the breakup was terrible, but he's not making Ariana's life miserable anymore like Jax is doing to Brittany. So I don't know. Jax is just like, there's nothing there that I'm like holding on hope for him to improve upon.
Exactly. So I think we're jumping on the bandwagon, the Fire Jax Taylor bandwagon. I think that the Valley could go on without him. We have a lot better storylines to follow, more couples that we're invested in. So I'm here for it. I'm here for the dissolution of Jax Taylor.
Boy, bye. All right, you guys, I know this was a long one. We had a lot to digest, a lot to dissect. So thank you all for listening and watching. And make sure you're following Bravo Breaking News on Instagram. I am at Lisa Not Rinna. I'm campaigning to get to at least 1,000 followers before BravoCon. So help me out. And we will see you all next time.
Bye, everyone.